The property import add-on we have available is by far one of the most popular add-ons we have, and is a great way to import properties if you use third-party software. In this video we'll look at installing it, activating it, running through adding our first imports, as well as some of the extra stuff like logging and some of the extra features. Well, the first thing to note is that we've already got Property Hive installed. What we're going to do first is install the plugin, so when you purchase it through the website you will be sent a link to download the zip file. Once you've got that zip file, we can just navigate to plugins and add new. Then we click upload plugin and we just browse to the zip file that you've downloaded. And then we can click install now. Once that's completed, we can click activate plugin and you'll notice we get sent straight to the import add-on settings. When we get there, we've got two options here. We can either do an automatic upload or a manual upload. Manual is where you might want to do a one-off import. So if you're migrating from another system maybe, you have the option to either upload a BLM file or a CSV file. The other option we've got is automatic. So this is where you want it to run on a regular basis automatically and just tick along in the background. This would normally be used if a client does use third-party software. So let's go for the automatic route. So we'll click continue. And we're just going to go for a wizard here, so step by step. Step 2 is just selecting the format. So you'll see we've got a whole host of formats available here. You'll see that when we select one, we get various options, and the options relate to the format because different third parties send it in different methods. Sometimes we have to go off and get the data, sometimes they send it to us. So each format has its own set of options. If we choose GPX, for example, in this case, GPX would give you the details you need to enter. Scrolling down, once we've passed the formats, we have a few additional options. Assigning properties imported to the right branch. In this case, we've only got one office set up, but if you've got more than one office, within the data there would be a unique branch ID or a branch name that allows you to associate the property to an office. You would then enter this ID from the third party into here, and then when a property is imported, if it sees branch ID in the XML, we would then map that property to, in this case, my office. Next options are to do with frequency, so every 15 minutes, hourly, twice daily or daily. How often do you want the imports to run? Start running, so do you want it to run immediately? You can toggle it between running and paused on the main screen, which you'll see in a second. Do we want to remove properties automatically? So if a property is no longer received in the data from the third party, do we want it to automatically come off the market and therefore off the website? Normally you wouldn't have it ticked, but we've seen scenarios where people want sold properties, for example, to stay on the site. Additional actions when removing properties. So when a property is no longer received and does come off the market, what do we want to do with it? Do we want to do nothing? Or do we want to remove some media? Because the issue is that over time, as properties come on and off the market, their media, their photos, their floor plans are all left behind on the server and therefore take up server space. So do we want to remove everything to do with the property? Or do we want to remove all media except the first image? The advantage of this one is, should someone find the URL of the property that's been taken off the market, via Google or an old email alert, that at least there is still an image there available to view. Email reports, so when a import finishes, we can set it so you get email a log of what exactly happened. So instead of having to come back and check it's running or check that there's no errors, and I'll email you straight away when it's finished a detailed log of everything that happened, be it a property was imported, a field changed, a property was taken off the market. Everything will be included within that report, and you can choose where that gets sent to as well. The last option is process in chunks. So sometimes for larger imports, it can be quite server intensive to just hammer through 100 properties at a time. This allows you to stagger it, hopefully reduce that server load, not only on our server or your server, but also on the third party server. So if you're using one of the formats that makes requests to a third party, this allows you to reduce that load as well. Step 3, custom field mapping. What you'll see is it's broken down into custom fields. So we have availability, then we have property type and so forth. On the left is the value that we will receive from the third party. And again, these will change based on what format you select. So choosing GPX versus Vibra will show different options here. These are the default values that we are expecting. So on the left, you have the value that comes in the feed. And on the right, the custom fields that are set up in Property Hive. And it's just a case of going through and mapping these, what we receive in the data to what's in Property Hive. So if we receive a property, let's do types for example. If we receive a property with type house, detached house, we want to map that to our side, which is house, detached house. So this step, just a case of going down and down, down through all the types. There is a scenario where in the third party, they might have customized these types or added new ones. So we do add the ability to add custom ones. So let's say they've added other canal boat as an example. We could add an additional option and add the values for that new type and map them. You'll see we've got them all here. Commercial types, price qualifier. And again, these will all be customized to the type that was selected in step 2. Once we're happy, we click finish. Now I said before we've got that start running immediately tick box. We didn't tick it, so it's currently paused. So to start it, we just click start. We can also edit it. So if we do want to go back and change any of the steps we just set up, we can do that. We can also delete it. Because it's paused, we have the ability to delete it. And we can also view logs. So once it starts running and starts importing properties, the logs will give you a detailed breakdown of exactly what happened. It's the same log that gets emailed if you have email reports enabled. We keep 7 days of logs, and after 7 days, it will automatically clean itself up. So start clearing down to stop any backlog or reduce the amount of space required to keep logs. Once we start it, you'll see that we get some information here. So we see when it was last ran. Obviously, it hasn't ran in this scenario. And when it's next due to run. So we can see it's due to run today at 12:51. And again, that will work it out based on the frequency and when it was last ran.